Hey guys, this is a very special invitation to all of my viewers and my friends and my fans and my lashes. If you've ever watched a video, I want you to know a special opportunity to go on an ultimate dream vacation with me and some of the world's most famous drag queens. It's going to be amazing. We are going on an 8-day cruise on the Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Seas. And it's 8 days starting at $439. What? That's mad cheap considering the fact that you don't have to pay for cabs, you don't have to pay for food. That's 24 hours of free food, buffets, restaurants, and room service. Girl, I gain weight on every cruise because I like to eat and the food is so good. I can't wait to be on this next cruise. And you don't have to pay for entertainment because it's non-stop entertainment. One of my friends went on a cruise, not the Drag Stars of the Seas, but they went on a different cruise, and they were like, oh my god, we were so bored the whole time, there was nothing to do. Well, guess what? Not only do you have the normal schedule of itinerary from the Royal Caribbean, you also have our itinerary. Last year there was 4 theme parties, 3 major shows where all the drag queens performed, and 12 little shows where girls did their one-woman show, etc. All that's happening again this year. But anyways, this video is going to be cut up into a couple parts. Obviously, part 1 is the invitation. Part 2, I'm going to tell you about what to expect on this cruise. Part 3, I'm going to tell you a little about this amazing ship, the Royal Caribbean, that we're going to be on. Adventure of the Seas. I know. And I'm even going to do a little recap of last year's cruise, the Mayan Adventure. It was my 3rd cruise with them, and I'm going to tell you the good, bad, and the ugly, and what happened and what you missed. But be sure to watch this video to know what's going to happen on this year's cruise too. There's going to be a link in the bottom in the comments where it's going to send you directly to the ALandCHUCK.travel website where you can book in my group, or you can also call the 1-800 number, which is right here. It's actually 1-866-949-1429. And if you want to use my cruise agent, her name is Sheila at extension 195. I'm sure anybody will be glad to help you. Just tell them that you're with Misty Eyez, or Misty Eyez sent you and you want to be in her group. But just remember, you have to sign up only through ALandCHUCK.travel. If you don't sign up with ALandCHUCK.travel, yes, half the boat will be people we don't know. Straight people, old people, young people, newlyweds, whatever. But they won't be invited to our parties. Again, these 12 different private showings and the 4 different major shows and the theme parties are invitation only. If you don't have an ALandCHUCK bracelet, you can't go. And yeah, you could be on the same boat as us, but what fun is it if you don't actually know when, where, why, how to get to where you're going? So make sure you do sign up with ALandCHUCK.travel or call the 1-800 number, 1-866-949-1429, extension 195, and tell her that Misty Eyez sent you. Her name is Sheila. She's amazing. But also, after you sign up, make sure and message me on my Facebook. I'll put a link of that in the bottom too, so that I know you're in my group, because I'm doing some amazing things for my group, and I need to know that you're in my group so that you're included on those things as well. Last year, one person didn't even tell me that he was in my group, and he almost missed out. But I stalked down ALandCHUCK.travel team and figured out who it was and what room he was in, so I can get him a gift and let him know what was happening. This is my 4th cruise with ALandCHUCK.travel, the Drag Stars at Sea, and yeah, I think that I have actually become an amazing group leader. Every year I get a little better, and every year I learn a little more. And last year I had an amazing gift for all of my people, and I'm going to do a lot of the same things again this year. This is your vacation, which means you could do whatever you want. Last year, for example, I had 3 couples that were on their honeymoon, and for the most part they kind of did their own gig, which is completely fine. But I had a lot of people that came alone. Like, for example, Miku came from Tokyo, Japan, all by herself. Ivan came from California, and they didn't know anybody. A girl in Fort Lauderdale, Fink, came alone, and I invited all of them to do everything with me. I'm like, for example, dinner. Hey, if you want to meet with us, come meet with us. And 16 of the people in my group totally had dinner together every night of the cruise. And you're welcome to do that. You don't have to hang out with me. I tell all the people in my group what cruise excursions I'm going on so that you can come with me and we arrange a time to meet and go together. Or you could do your own thing, and that's completely fine. I just want you to be able to know that you're not alone, and if you are with me, we are definitely going to be hanging out. The most important thing that you should know about this cruise is everyone is invited. You can be 85 or you can be 5 years old. It does not matter. There is no age limit to the people in our group or in my group. We are welcoming to all people, gay, straight, bisexual, transsexual, old, young, married, single. It doesn't matter. This is basically, I always call it a family reunion. And it truly is like that for a lot of people in my group. Like last year, everyone cried on the last night at dinner because we bonded so deeply. I've talked about in many videos how I met Justin and Mark on the first cruise, and I went last year to their wedding, and Justin has become truly my brother and my family. Last year on the cruise, I met Robert and Eddie, and they've come down from Orlando to meet me during my surgery, and I'm actually going to be going up there to hang out with them during gay days. So it's a lot of real relationships. People from Michigan and Chicago that I've met on the cruise came down and we hung out for Beach Bear weekend. I even met a straight family that weren't even with the ALandCHUCK group, but they're going to be signing up this year with our group, obviously. But I befriended them and their kids. They're an amazing family, and it's a great time. This truly is a family reunion or church camp. However you look at it, it's a unique experience where you can get away, go traveling. It's 8-day cruise, 7 different countries. Whoa. And again, it's 24 hours free food, room service, buffets, restaurants, whatever you want. And it is amazing with lots of things to do. On last year's cruise, they decided to have the meet and greet at the same time. Every queen, everybody on the boat, and it was very successful. Basically what happened was they had all the photographers and their amazing backdrops. Some are step and repeats for ALandCHUCK.travel. Some were actually like scenic, you know, the prom pictures or whatever that they do on the cruises. And each queen picks a step and repeat or a backdrop, and a photographer takes pictures of them and all their fans. So you can literally take a picture with me or Sharon or Latrice or the entire cast of season 7. All on the same floor at the same time, so you can literally go one-to-one. If you are dying to meet Latrice, you can meet her. If you're dying to meet me, obviously you're going to be in my group, so you'll obviously be meeting me already. But you get to meet everyone else as well. There will be a private opportunity for you to have a more private and intimate cocktail party with the queen of your choosing. Just like always, there's going to be 4 major parties. The last year, the parties were Sheila Rouge's Naughty Slumber Party, the White and Gold Goddess Party, the Superhero Party, and the Michelle Visage Mistress of the Night Black Party. Not sure what the parties are going to be next year, but I think one of them is going to be an ice skating party because they have a huge ice skating rink. They're usually announced a couple months or right before the cruise, and this cruise isn't until January, so obviously you have time to save up. If you've already used your vacation time for 2015, don't worry, it's January 2016. This cruise has always been the first week of December, and I know that kind of interferes a lot with teachers and finals. So hopefully this will be a great time for those of you in our education system to take off of work and come party with us. This cruise, like the first 2, is only going to be sold to the number of people that are able to fit in the theater at one time. I don't know the number of seats in the theater, but if there's only 1,000 seats in the theater, that means they're only selling 1,000 tickets. Because there's 3 major shows where all the girls will be performing in the major shows, and in those 3 major shows, they don't want to oversell or overbook, because if somebody can't go, it's not fair and it's not fun, and so they're going to sell out the whole floor and the balcony. But that also means, just like on the other cruises, half the boat is going to be people that are not in our group, which means absolutely straight people, absolutely couples, absolutely children, absolutely old people. But guess what? In our society, even if you live in Wilton Manors, Florida, where I do, where it's very, very gay, you still have to see straight people. And that's okay. As long as they're okay with us, we're okay with them. And our parties can coexist successfully like they have on the last 3 cruises that I've been on. I've had no problems with straight people. It's been amazing and it's been fun. Cool thing about our cruise is right when we get on the ship, right when the boat's getting ready to take off, we do have an unofficial meet and greet where we all go to the theater and Al and Chuck welcome everybody and introduce all the girls to everybody so you can see us. Usually we're all out of drag at that moment because we just got on board and traveled and luggaged and everything. So you get to see all of us out of drag so you know who we are on the ship. Wink, wink. So you can always run up and say, oh my God, I recognize you. Hi, how are you? So it's a great way to be like, hey, Misty, I know you. But it's also a great way to get all the community bulletin information about what's going to be happening, what you can expect, what has changed, what has been added. They're always great for adding new and fun things to the cruise. Right now, the cruise is 8 months away, so there's lots of time to add new things to our boat in our events. So a lot of things haven't been announced yet, so they're going to be announcing new things in our meet and greet and letting us know if anything has changed or whatever. Now, a cool thing that happened last year, the boat featured my time dining, which means there wasn't officially assigned seats. Now, usually cruises will assign you seats, and it's a great way to meet people that you don't know. For example, most people on a typical, normal, random, everyday cruise is going with a couple and they don't know anybody else. So it's a great way to forcibly meet other couples or other people or other families. Now, the My Time Dining means there's not an assigned seat. So last year, I messaged everyone in my group when I got on the boat, and I was like, hey everyone, welcome, blah, 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 blah. I changed one of my excursions and one of the events that I was planning for my group. But I also said, if you want to dine with me, you're absolutely welcome. The important thing about going on this cruise, it's actually your vacation, which means you get to do whatever you want. If you want to be with your honeymoon husband and only do things with your honeymoon husband, do it. But if you want to hang out with other people, let's hang out. But I had a group of 16 people that came and we ate together the entire trip. Even if we didn't do excursions together, and even if we didn't see each other, we ate together, that 16 people group, every night. And I didn't miss a dinner once. So I ate with them every night, even when I was sick. I got really bad sick on the last cruise. On the last night, the waiters sang to us, "It's so hard to say goodbye," or something like that. It wasn't that song, but it was something about packing your bags and whatever. And my whole table cried. We really, really bonded. And the cool thing about these cruises for me is I make really strong, real relationships with my group. For example, Justin and Mark on the first cruise I went on were my group. I was in their wedding last year. And I've been to other parts of the country and I've been throughout the United States meeting and hanging out with people in my group because I've made strong friendships. And recently, last week actually, a couple from Michigan and a couple from Chicago that was on my group last year came to Fort Lauderdale for the Beach Bear weekend, and we got to hang out then too. Like, it's a great way to form real solid relationships. I always call it a family reunion because you're really hanging out with friends that you don't know, but these relationships are so strong. It's really like a family reunion. That's what I call it. The last cruise, again, I'm going to go into the last cruise a little bit later, but the last cruise for me was my most favorite. And I can't wait for this one. I think it's going to be 10 times better. All right, so let's talk about this boat. We're going to be on the Royal Caribbean Adventure of the Seas, and there's 15 floors, which are public floors. Obviously, they have the employee floors that are underneath. 3 pools, 6 hot tubs or whirlpools, 15 bars, clubs, or lounges, an outdoor movie theater, a gym, a spa, which is kind of typical of a cruise ship. What they do have that I'm shocked about is they have a 9-hole mini golf course, rock climbing wall, an ice skating rink, a basketball court, a roller skating rink. All this on a boat. Now, by the way, if you are a parent or a family, Children are welcome at all the events that the ALandCHUCK group throws. I can't think of any event that there would have been an unacceptable... Well, maybe one of the theme parties. Some of the costumes were pretty risque, but the kids are in bed by then. This is like a nightclub party, so yeah. But I remember one year we had children, one of the girls in the show, one of the children in the show. But there is a free, of course, children's camp and a youth camp. So if you do have teenagers or kids, there is daycare and a youth camp center for them to hang out with each other and do their own things while mom and dad can rest alone in the room or have dinner or whatever they want to do in privacy. All right, so let's talk about last year. Now, thanks to Jason McAllister, who's been on every cruise that I've been on, he took so many pictures, like thousands. I'm going to use some of his slideshow and put it in my video because he really captured everything. In fact, I just watched it to remember what kind of things that ever happened because I kind of forgot. But all right, so there's the three major shows. There's 3 nights of major shows. The first show had me, Jade Sotomayor, Gia Gunn, Trinity K. Bonet, Mystique Summers, Roxy Andrews, Darian Lake, Alaska Thunderfuck, and Fifi O'Hara. By the way, Fifi O'Hara turns it every year. This year, she impersonated all the other famous drag queens on RuPaul's Drag Race. It was really funny. The second big show had Ivy Winters, April Carrion, Mariah Paris Balenciaga, Jocelyn's Womp Womp, Jiggly Caliente, Ben de la Creme, Pandora Box, Detox, Shangela, Latrice motherfucking Royale, Mimi I'm First. Mimi actually did a Titanic spin where she mashed up boat sinking movies. That was unexpected. The third major show had Angina, who had a proposal. It was a really special, fun, surprise proposal. I had no idea this was happening. Yara Sofia, Adore Delano, Tyra Sanchez, Raja, Sharon Needles, Jinx Monsoon, and Bianca Del Rio. Now, those were the 3 major shows where all the girls that were entertaining for the week performed in. But many of the girls also had their extras, their extra shows. There were 12 one-woman shows or mini shows. For example, Bianca Del Rio did the Newlywed Game. Alaska Thunderfuck had her own mini one-woman show. Jinx Monsoon had her own one-woman show. Shangela Laquifa Watley had her own one-woman show. Michelle Visage had her own one-woman show, but it was more of like an all-star cabaret or review. Sharon Needles had an entire concert. By the way, confession, I have a huge crush on her drummer. He is so sweet and nice, and I'm like hardcore crushing. Maybe I'm First had a private Christmas show. Latrice Royale had her one-woman show. Willem Belly had her one-woman show. And then there was this Michelle Visage celebrity roast. And this was an all-star roast where some of the funniest drag queens of RuPaul's Drag Race were on the roast panel. And the one that really stuck out to me was Mimi on First. She was surprisingly really funny. I did not list the girls that are going to be on this cruise because honestly I don't know. The list is not complete. They're still announcing people. But in typical ALandCHUCK fashion, you can guarantee that the entire cast of season 7 was invited. So it's a great way to go and meet the new girls. But also they're going to be, I know Latrice is going, right? I know Latrice is going. I'm sure Mimi on First is going. Mystique Summers is going. I don't remember the other girls I've talked to that are going from previous years, but you can definitely count on your all-star cast of previous seasons as well as the new queens. And of course, it'll be my 4th year going with the ALandCHUCK.travel group as the non-RuPaul girl. Although this year I heard that Lady Bunny is going, Unique from Glee is going. But that means it's going to be even more fun and even more amazing. And the excursions that I went on or had planned with my group were, the first day was Key West. So my group actually pretty much divided. Some of us did the haunted tour. Some of us did the taste of Key West. And then most of us actually met at 801 Bourbon Street on Duval, which is a big gay resort, clothing optional, pool, etc. And we met there for drinks and cocktails. But I was really tired, so I didn't stay very long, and then I hit it and went back to the boat to take a nap. The next port was Mexico, and we were there for 2 whole days, which means you can get on and off your boat 24 hours a day. And as far as I know, this has never been done before. And all the employees were freaking out because if they weren't working, they actually got off the boat. And I kind of stayed off the boat this 2 days too. The first excursion I went on, the Chichen Itza Pyramid. The way excursions work on a cruise, if you're going on a specific cruise, they might have like 7 different buses for a specific cruise. For example, Chichen Itza had like, I think 23 buses. And you hang out with your bus. So everyone in my group, I'm like, all right, we have to meet outside the room before we go in. We have to go in together if we want to be together for the Chichen Itza Pyramid. And it was so fun and obnoxious and an all-day event. I slept all the way back, so I don't remember the bus ride being that long on the way back. And on the way there, we were all laughing and talking and kikiing. That night, we went in, showered, changed, whatever, and some of the guys in my group and I left the boat again, and we went to a couple of the local pubs. For example, I may have made out with one of the managers of Three Amigo Mexican Cantina. And I got really wasted. They were giving me free shots of watermelon, Jello shots, actually in a watermelon shell. And tequila will kill you. The next day we did a stingray swim. Now it's funny because Justin, Mark, and I, this is our 4th cruise together. Well, this was our 3rd cruise together. And every cruise we've done a stingray swim, but the excursion that we had planned was the underwater cave swim, and they canceled it because I guess the boat was leaving sooner than it planned. So the only thing that could fit into our schedule was the stingray swim. And we're like, oh crap, more stingrays. But we had an amazing time. It was really fun. Again, it's not where you go, it's who you go with. And I went with an amazing group of people, and it was so fun. I got to swim with the stingrays yet again. And then after that, we actually went back to the Three Amigos and had dinner. And more shots. Oh my God. It pays to make connections. Let's put it that way. I'm just shocked that I made out with a straight guy while his wife was there on property. And I wasn't even wearing makeup. But something happened in Mexico. I don't know if it was drinking margaritas on the rocks or I had a couple waters. on the rocks. I had a salad, and long story short, I drank a lot of Mexican water. Bitch, I got deathly ill. Monsoon's revenge, the house down. I have never diarrheaed myself in my sleep before. And that happened on this cruise. It was so devastating. I was more embarrassed. Thank God I had my own room this year. And I was like literally bedridden. Sick. So just remember, if you do get off, do not drink anything with ice or salad, because salad absorbs water. Long story short, I got very, very ill. The next stop was, the very next day, was in Honduras. And that was the dolphin swim. And I could not breathe. I could not go 5 minutes without puking. And I couldn't get off the boat. I would have been allowed to, I'm sure. But I could not go 5 minutes without puking. Like, I was deathly ill and I had to cancel on my group. But thank God Carnival gave me my money back, because I went to the counter. I'm like, look, I can't go. And I gave them back my ticket and they refunded my money. So that was very thankful for that. But that was the most fun excursion for me, because it was actually a dolphin swim where they let you swim with them for freely for 30 minutes. And I was like, everyone in my group, I was like, tell me about it. And they're like, they're kind of like dogs. Like, you'll be swimming along and they'll play with you for a while, and then they'll go away and chase a ball or whatever, and then come back and swim with you. And I'm like, well, did you get to do the normal, like, kissing the dolphin, swimming with the dolphin, like, riding a dolphin? And they're like, oh yeah, we did all that first. And then they had the free swim for half an hour. And I was like, oh, dolphins are my favorite animal. And mermaids. All right, so let's talk about the bad things that happened last year. The good, bad, the ugly. There's always going to be bad things that happen. And again, like I said, it's not where you go, it's who you go with. I mean, think about it. For example, I've already been to the Virgin Islands. I've already been to Puerto Rico. But guess what? I'm going again with an amazing group of people, and I'm really excited about it. What happened bad last year? There was a couple reasons people were really, really mad. And I don't know why they were so freaking mad. Like, a couple of my friends were so mad. They were mad for like several days. Like, and that really upset me, because I kept telling them, like, look, let it go. You can't do anything about it. Let's just have fun. One of my friends was mad because Carnival told them that they had drink packages available for the week, but you had to buy them on the ship. You couldn't buy them in advance because all your excursions and things you could buy in advance. Like, oh, I want to do this before I go, this before I go. Well, they wouldn't let them sign up for the drink packages. And I told her, I said, look, I think they're just doing that so that you don't sneak on your own alcohol. I think they're doing that so that they could trick you into thinking you're going to get this big package and they're going to make more money off of you. And I warned her, I'm like, sneak on your own alcohol. She didn't, and they did not have the drink package, and so she was wrecked by the drink package. I'm like, girl, so sorry. Another couple of my friends were really, really mad about the fireworks. Alan Chuck said that this would be the first ever drag cruise where there was going to be fireworks launched from the boat leaving the port of Miami. And that did not happen because of fire codes. I don't know how it was approved in the first place, but I've been around like 4th of July fireworks and things, and they always have, you know, hundreds of feet away from, just in case something blows up or goes awry and catches on fire. Well, bitch, you're on a boat with 3,000 plus people. If something gets on fire, of course they didn't approve it. They approved it, but then it wasn't approved before it went off. So that didn't happen. And some people were really mad about it. You know what? Sorry. So there's no fireworks, no big deal. Move on. There's so many other things that are amazing about this trip. Let's just have fun. And the last thing that people were really, really mad about, and I think this is what most people were mad about, was it was supposed to be an entire Alan Chuck charter. And it wasn't. And I admit, I was shocked too. Like, I remember standing in line to get on the boat through the port, and I'm standing with Roxy Andrews in line. I'm like, God, there's a lot of really old people. Is that normal? Like, what is going on? And then I made a joke out of it. I'm like, oh, well, I'm doing a cocoon number on the boat, and they're all my backup dancers. So, yeah, I remember being shocked myself until we get on the boat and Alan Chuck explained to all the drag queens, look, it was a full charter, it was a private charter, but some of the gay people didn't want to be on a cruise with drag queens. And that makes sense because, you know what? Sometimes they go to leather bars and they don't want drag queens there too. And sometimes they go to bear parties and they don't want drag queens there too. Which is shocking because so many of our fans are also leather and bear and people like that. So Alan Chuck had to advertise to other venues. They started with Grindr and Scruff and Growler and did their, you know, different gay sectors. But when the boat did not sell out completely, they also sold it to their normal customers for Legendary Journeys, which is a straight, which anybody, they sold to their normal customers on Legendary Journeys, which anybody can buy any travel situation. The ALandCHUCK division of Legendary Journeys is the gay division, but it's recent in the last couple of years, where Legendary Journeys has been around for like 20 years. So of course they offered it to their straight clientele and said, look, we have a cruise. So yeah, the bad things were the whole ship was not full of gay people. But you know what? Even if it was fully chartered, half of our fans are straight people with kids and husbands that are just fans of drag. I know on the last 3 cruises, on the first cruise, we met somebody that wasn't signed up in our group. This always happens, actually. And you know what always happens? Every year, we meet a couple people that are not signed up with our group, but become huge fans. And the first year, for example, there was a husband and wife and their adult daughter who was special. I don't think it was Down syndrome. I think she was actually had a, I don't like the word retarded, but she had a learning disability, an advanced learning disability, and she was very special. But it was going crazy because she loved the drag. So we actually brought them to a big show and like called them out, and she's been on the last 3 with us after meeting us, not knowing that we were on the same boat as her. And that always happens, meeting great, amazing people. Last year I met a family, husband and wife, and their 5 kids. Some were teenagers, some were adults, and I hung out with them, and it was so much fun. They were just great people. So guess what? Some of our fans are straight people. Some of the people on the boat are straight people that are yet to be fans. And the reality is, it doesn't matter who else is on the boat. You're going to have a good time. We're going to party. We're going to have fun. It's an 8-day cruise for $439 and up. And we're going to Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, St. Croix, Antigua, St. Lucia, and Grenada. Whew. Lots of international traveling, lots of shows. I don't know what the shows will be this year, but last year, again, there was 3 major shows and 12 little shows. So, not to mention all the stuff that's happening on the boat, roller skating, ice skating, the rock wall climbing. There's so many amazing things going to be happening this year, and every year it gets better. Last year was my favorite cruise so far, and I think this year is going to be beyond amazing. And I can't wait to see you and meet you and hang out. Loving you is easy.